Hello and welcome to another episode of The Startup Show, brought to you by Inc. Authority. I'm your host, Trevor Rowley. Hey, perhaps you visited our website and you have purchased a new LLC, or maybe you've talked to one of our business startup specialists and they've walked you through the process of helping you form your brand new LLC. Well, if you purchased a package that included a corporate record book with minutes and resolutions, you probably received something in the mail that looks just like this. And you probably have questions about some of the documents that you'll find inside. So what we'd like to do today is kind of take you through a document walkthrough of your LLC record book. Now, don't worry, if you purchased online and you didn't get a record book, you chose not to buy one at the time, you can still do that. Give us a call at Inc. Authority. We'd be happy to provide you with one of these record books. Now, when you receive the record book, you'll find, first of all, that the name of your LLC will be on a brass plate on the spine, and it's in a beautiful leather binder. It's a portfolio style binder. It means that it has a zipper case so that it's easy to be transportable to take with you to the bank or other places. But the most important thing about this LLC record book is that it's one place to keep all of your important documents so you have access to them, you know where they are, whatever they're called for, you'll be able to produce them. So now I'd like to take you through them one by one. So when you open up the record book, the first thing that you'll find on the inside left-hand cover is you're going to find a quick start guide. This quick start guide is really important. Number one, you're going to find contact information to get a hold of your customer support specialist at Inc. Authority, should you ever need it. If you have any questions about any of these documents, other things that might come up in the normal course of your business, you want to give Inc. Authority a call so we can help you with it. And you'll find a phone number and an email address that'll get you right to help desk at Inc. Authority. Another important page in this quick start guide is what we call the My Startup Success Steps page. And it's a checklist that'll take you through all of the things that you're going to need to do to get your LLC operational and fully functional. Everything from registering the business, which will be one of the steps you'll already have taken, to acquiring your tax identification number, completing all of your legal documents, getting your bank account set up, conducting a business credit analysis, getting a business plan, online registration and presence if necessary, protecting your brand through logos and trademarks, setting up trusts, to maintaining the business entity annually, and getting tax consultations. So you'll want to make sure that you follow through with that page. Make sure that you check all of those steps as you complete them. Additionally, you may not be aware that Inc. Authority is a one-stop shop for entrepreneurs where you can find products and services that will help you grow and scale your business throughout the lifetime of the business. Maybe you didn't know that some of these offerings even existed, and you'll find some highlighted products in this quick start guide as well. Anything from helping you build business credit, to tax preparation, to business plans, to revocable living trusts, to federal trademarks, and more. All found in the quick start guide. So that's an important reference document that you'll want to keep in your record book. Now, on the right-hand side of the record book, you'll begin to find all of the pages that we're going to walk you through today. It begins with a welcome page. Congratulations for setting up your LLC. And you'll notice, again, you'll find a telephone number, you'll find the mailing address, you'll find the website address. If you need to reach Inc. Authority for any reason, make sure that you take note of those contact addresses and phone numbers. As you turn the page, the next page you'll find is a document that says Release at the top. And immediately following that page is a document that says Membership Listing Statement. Now, for the moment, we're going to pass these by, but we're going to come back to you in just a few minutes as we talk about some other pages that will give you a little bit more context into these pages and why they're at the front of your record book. So for right now, if you would, simply turn to the first tab in your record book that should say Articles of Organization. When you open that tab, you will find your Articles of Organization. This is the state-filed document that registered your LLC in your state of choice. This is an important document. It is the one that proves that you are an LLC. You may need to show it to a bank or another financial institution or anybody else that you need to demonstrate or prove that you are an actual LLC. The Articles of Organization are going to show the original filing date and the number that is assigned to you by the state. So don't lose that document. Very important document. Make sure you keep it right behind that tab in your LLC record book. The next tab I want to draw your attention to is the tab that says Operating Agreement. So the operating agreement is a very important document. It's the internal governing document of the LLC. It's not registered with the state or anywhere on the public record, so it is an internal document, but it's really, really important. It takes you through matters of procedure, and it's basically a contract between the owners of the LLC, who are called members, and the LLC itself. It's going to contain some provisions that aren't included in your articles of organization, so it's important to read through this document that we've provided for you. So there's 2 copies of the operating agreement that we've included behind this tab. One that once you execute it, and by execute I mean you've signed and dated it after you've read through it, one is going to remain in your record book so you have access to it all the time. The other is going to be also signed and dated, but you're going to return it to your registered agent, which is Inc. Authority. Now, that's where we can kind of come back to these other documents that were at the very front of the book that I referenced initially, the release and the membership listing. Those documents also are going to come back. So you're going to have a total of 3 documents that you're going to return to Inc. Authority. It's a requirement that your registered agent have these documents on hand. And so when you complete that operating agreement, send 1 copy back. Now you can scan it and send it. You can take a picture and send it. You can mail it and send it. And when you do, make sure that you also sign and date the release form that's in the very front of your record book, and also the membership listing statement. Now, the membership listing statement is a document that lists the names and addresses of the members and the managers of the LLC. The members are the owners. So if you're the only owner, it's only your name and address that's going to go there. The manager is the person who is put in charge by the owners to operate the LLC. It might also be the same person who is the member, but it could be another person. It could be another entity. It could be another corporation or an LLC, for example, that acts as the manager. Again, if you have any questions about that, contact us at Inc. Authority. The operating agreement is pretty easy to execute. We have put together in sort of template form the various provisions and articles, discusses capital contributions. It discusses management and control. You can give the manager as much control as you want, or you can limit the control. You can talk about how you might add additional owners, or how you might take some owners out of the LLC if they wish to exit. There will be discussion about how you're going to allocate your net profits, transfer assignment of interest, what happens if you want to dissolve the LLC. All of these things are talked about and accounted for here in this operating agreement. So you want to read through it, make sure that you're understanding it and comfortable with it. And at the end, you just go ahead and have all of the members, all of the owners, sign and date to make it your official operating agreement. Now, the next tab I want to draw your attention to is the tab that says Minutes. Now, what are minutes? There are decisions and actions that are going to need to be taken by the LLC from time to time. And the LLC by itself can't make these decisions. It has to be individuals on behalf of the LLC that make these decisions. They get together in a meeting, they hold votes. Those who are owners are going to have those votes. And once those decisions are made, they need to be written down and recorded. And that's what the minutes are, is the recording of the decisions that have taken place and what's taken place in these meetings. So we have a section to outline some of these actions. Some of these actions need to take place shortly after the LLC is organized, and we're going to take you through them in the order in which you need to really execute them right after having acquired this LLC. So as you open this section, first you'll find a page that says Introduction. It's simply a reference point that tells you a little bit about the documents that follow. When you turn the page, the next document you'll see is one that says Appointment of Operating Manager/Member. Now, somebody needs to be appointed as the manager of the LLC. At the point of sale, either online or through a business startup specialist, you gave the name of the individual to be appointed as the manager. So their name will be found here. And simply put, the organizer or the person in control of the entity will sign off naming that individual as the manager. And then on the next page, you'll see that that person has an opportunity to accept that appointment through the acceptance of appointment of operating manager/member form. Again, they've just been appointed the manager. Now they're signing to accept that appointment, and they're dating it to make it official. Following that page, the next document you will find is one that says Minutes of the Organizational Meeting of the name of your LLC. Again, just a few blanks that you'll be looking at here. You have to have an organizational meeting to not only document all the things that have already taken place in the formation of the LLC, but to talk about things on a going forward basis, such as authorizing the company to open a bank account, authorizing the company to acquire an EIN number, talking about how many votes constitute a majority of a voter's percentage, etc. Again, you're going to want to read through this, but where there are blanks, the blanks are simply asking for locations and dates. So you'll fill in the location of the meeting, the date that the meeting is held, and at the conclusion of the document on the second page, the manager will go ahead and sign and date it to execute and formalize this document. The following page, titled Acknowledgement of Manager Acceptance of the Name of Your LLC. So the manager was appointed, the manager accepted the appointment, and now the new manager acknowledges the acceptance and agrees to abide by the operating agreement of the LLC. So again, it's very simple. You see a few blanks in there where you're going to date the document, and it's going to be signed by the manager of the LLC. As you turn the page, the next document you'll find is titled Waiver of Notice of the First Meeting of the Members of the Name of Your LLC. This is a formality. Anytime you're going to have a meeting, there either needs to be a notice of the meeting given to those who should be invited to attend, or you might waive the notice, meaning you don't want to give notice. This is typically done for single member LLCs. Remember, the members are the owners. It might be just me, and it seems silly for me to send a notice to myself to attend the meeting. So rather than a notice, I might waive the notice. And the way that I do that is I simply fill in the blanks here on this form, giving the location of where the meeting will be held, the date that the meeting will be held, and again, me as the member or any other members that might be involved will all sign and date it at the bottom to execute this form. The next page is titled The Minutes of the First Meeting. So this is our first meeting now. Again, real organizational type stuff that you need to do, such as setting your fiscal year, outlining the specific business purpose of the LLC, and a few other items. But again, you're just looking for the blanks. Many of them are dates. Some of them are locations. There is a blank there for you to elaborate on the business purpose of the LLC. You're going to want to read through it, make sure that you understand it and agree to it. And the manager on the second page signs and dates the document to execute it. The following page is another one that's really important. This is one you're going to want to pay attention to. The title of this document is Financial Institution Resolution of the Name of Your LLC. Now, this is the document that typically you're going to take to your corner bank. If you're going to go ahead and set up a bank account, they need to see a resolution where the LLC has authorized that a bank account be opened on its behalf. Now, one of the great things about doing business with Inc. Authority is if you want to avoid all of this altogether, we have private banking specialists that you can contact at Inc. Authority who can help you open your bank account from the comfort of your own home. They can facilitate opening that bank account through Bank of America, who is our preferred partner, and you don't even have to go into the bank to do it, and you can avoid some of this paperwork. However, we understand that many of you have relationships with banks already. Maybe you have your local bank, you want to go open that bank account at that local bank. If that's the case, this document, the Financial Institution Resolution, is one that you'll fill out and you'll take with you when you go to open the bank account. When you look at it, you simply are going to name the financial institution and the address of that financial institution where you want to open that bank account. The manager is going to go ahead and sign this resolution authorizing an account to be opened there and date it. And then again, you're going to take it with you to the bank. As you turn the page, the next document that you'll find is Exhibit A, Capital Contribution and Addresses of the Members. So the operating agreement references this Exhibit A, and this Exhibit A is simply a document that's going to record what the owners are putting into the LLC in exchange for their ownership interest. So the top half of the document is asking for the name and address of the manager, again, the person or persons who are going to be operating the business. But then the bottom half of the document lists in alphabetical order the names of these owners who are called members. And so simply put, you would just put the name of the member's address, the contribution. For example, one member puts $1,000 into the business. That's their capital contribution. And how many units of the LLC they get back in exchange. Now, an LLC always has 100 units. And so if I'm the only owner, for example, and I put $1,000 in, my name would go under member name, my address would go under the address, the capital contribution would be at $1,000, and the units would be 100 that I received in exchange. Now, if there were other individuals in addition to myself that were members, all of our names would go in there individually, our addresses individually, our capital contribution individually, but the number of units would depend on whatever our percentage of ownership is going to be. If we all wanted to be equal and there were 3 of us, we might all each have 33 1/3 units of interest. So this is a document that's important, that it outlines what's being put in terms of initial capital and what percent of ownership in terms of units they're getting back in exchange. Now, as you turn to the next page, the title of this page is Authentication of Book of Records of the LLC. So you need to have a document that simply states that this is the official book of records of the LLC, that there's no other book of records, this is it. And this is that document that authenticates it. So it's a very simple document. You simply date it, and it's signed by the owners. You keep this document together in this record book at all times to authenticate that this is the one true and only record book of your LLC. That takes you through the organizational minutes section of your LLC. The next tab is the membership certificates tab. So the membership certificates are the certificates that register the ownership of the LLC. And when you turn to this tab, the first thing you'll find is the first certificate is marked as a specimen, meaning it's the sample, it's the example, it's going to stay in the record book as evidence of what the ownership certificates look like. Following that specimen, you'll find 10 additional certificates. They are numbered in the upper left-hand corner. The way that these are filled out is that the name of the owner, the same as what you entered in the previous document we talked about, the capital contribution document. The name is entered here on the certificate as the owner of the certificate. It's signed by the managers, it's dated by the managers, and the number of units that it represents will be in the upper right-hand corner. So it needs to match what you put on that capital contribution document. Now, it's probably important to reference here that many business owners don't take ownership in their own personal name of the LLC. You can, and it's fine to do so, but many find that a better solution is to put the ownership of the LLC into the revocable living trust. That way, if something should happen to them, the business can continue to operate in perpetuity, and it can avoid processes such as probate that might cause problems for the business for its continued operation in the event of the death of the owner. So if you have more questions about why or how you should set up your LLC owned by the Revocable Living Trust, give us a call at Inc. Authority. We'll be happy to talk to you about it. But again, there's 10 certificates here, and they can be issued to the names of these owners. The next tab is the membership listing. And you'll find that this sounds, and it quite frankly is a little bit repetitive, but the members register is now the LLC's register of who they issued the certificates to. The certificates are perforated, and when they are registered to somebody, they're actually handed to that person takes it, it doesn't remain in the record book. But the register here is where you record that certificate was issued and to who it was issued. So there's a date that it's issued, the name that it's issued to, and how many units that certificate represented. That way, if somebody should come back and present that certificate so that they want to vote the rights of that certificate, you'll be able to know whether that person is the rightful owner of that or not, based on whether it's been registered and is kept in the members register. Now, most of the remaining tabs don't actually have anything in them right now because your LLC is brand new, the business is brand new. But you're going to have some things that are going to take place for the business in the future, and you'll have additional documentation that you'll want to keep here. So the next tab, for instance, is the tab that says IRS forms. So when you file your tax return, for example, you might want to keep any responses, letters, documentation, correspondence from the IRS here. When you get your EIN number and they write to you and give you your EIN number, you're going to want to keep that here. So here's where you're going to keep any correspondence with the IRS. The next tab says business licenses. Again, self-explanatory. If you need to get a business license for your municipality, for your city, for your state, etc., you'll want to keep a copy of that business license here in the record book. That way you can always reference it. The next tab is for tax returns, federal tax returns, state tax returns. You're going to want to keep copies of those on hand. You'll need them from time to time. And here's a place where you'll have it where it will never be lost. The following tab is labeled as financial statements. And this is where you'll have balance sheets, income statements, profit and loss statements, etc., that you'd want to keep and have handy. So this is a place to keep those documents. The next tab is simply labeled important documents. It's a little bit of a catch-all, but there are some important documents that you're going to want to keep here that you're going to be able to reference. For example, perhaps you have an online presence for your business. You're going to want to keep any documentation related to the domain registration confirmation there. If you have intellectual property, patents, trademarks, etc., you're going to want to keep all of that correspondence here and evidence of those so that you have them handy. The final tab is titled Template Forms. So on an ongoing basis, you're going to make additional decisions, there'll be additional activities, and you're going to need documentation in order to record the decisions being made. And this is sort of a group of documents for you to use when and if that time should arise. So the types of documents that you'll find here that are easy to execute would be a manager resignation. The person you appoint as the manager doesn't want to be the manager anymore. They want to resign. There's a form here for them to sign and date in order to make that happen. There's a form here to appoint a new manager. So if that manager resigns and it's time to appoint a new manager, you can use this form to appoint that new manager. Again, signed and dated. Obviously, anytime that a new manager is appointed, they have to accept that appointment. So there's another page in here where that new manager can accept that appointment, and a page where they can acknowledge the acceptance of that appointment and agree to abiding by the operating agreement. So really simple things, but it does happen where you need to replace the manager from time to time, and you want to make sure that you have all the documentation in place to demonstrate that. And there are other documents in this section, such as template forms for minutes of future meetings of the LLC. And again, if the time arises where you need to complete those and you have any questions, that's where you can give us a call at Inc. Authority, and one of our customer support representatives can help you with that. The final document in the package is an amended membership listing statement. So if it ever changes, the ownership changes, somebody sells their ownership units to somebody else, they need to register that, etc. Here's where you would amend that, so you're always keeping track of who the owners are at any given time. So that's a quick run through of what you'll find in your LLC record book. I hope that you found this helpful. Again, we're here to support you and help you at any time. So keep that quick start guide handy that has the email address, the telephone number for Inc. Authority. Give us a call if you have any questions about any of these forms, about the proper way to issue the certificates, or if you need to exchange the certificate, or if an owner's coming or going, or managers are coming or going. We'll be happy to help you with any of that. Thank you for joining us today on this episode of The Startup Show. We hope that you'll join us for future shows. And now would be a great time to hit the like button and make sure that you have that notification bell turned on so that you don't miss any future episodes. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. We'll see you next time here on The Startup Show, powered by Inc. Authority.